Welcome to the right way to become an industry crossover empathic-preneur. I am Industry Crossover Authority-preneur and Cross-Pollination-Publishing-preneur, and also an empathic Empire-preneur advisor. And I am AliNICOLE WOW. And joining me is my Star King celebrity protege, Tom, and he is also an empath, and he leverages cross-industry writing-preneurship. As a multi-niche blogger, he's a writer, and also a cross-pollination publisher as well. And we are excited to share with the empathic community an opportunity to combine their empathic gifts and high sensitivity and writing in various formats to serve different industries, really as a gateway for making an impact and an income. So I'm just going to share a little bit of my background. I'm the pioneer of several new era paradigms, such as the cross-industries entrepreneurship, industry crossover entrepreneurship, and also multiplicity-preneurship. And I've created various platforms, or I should say a variety of platforms, but various levels for how others can diversify, multiply, maximize, and ultimately monetize their giftings, especially their empathic abilities and expertise. And I have to say that during this time, empaths are really, really called to be serving in these formats. And so as an empathic-preneur, over the years, I use my high sensitivity to be in tune and in touch with the needs or the desires of different industries, really to create solutions for them, mainly in publication platform formats. So I provide over 1,000 online platforms that serve different niche markets, and 500 of those platforms are blog platforms. And I've also published around 300 works on Amazon, and those are also for different, for different industries. This is something I want to point out before Tom and I start talking in just a little bit, is that as it relates to our high sensitivity, empaths can often mistake what they're going through or what they're feeling. Sometimes they feel, it's burdensome, and that they have no control over what, they take in or take on or what they absorb. But in this experience, you're going to learn that most of the time what you're feeling is the vibration of an industry or different industries that desire for you to create content. And believe it or not, as empaths, we have so much content within us, really to the point that if we don't release it, we often get sick. And that's why most empaths are burdened down or even become financially challenged, because there's so much that is ready to be unleashed. And writing is one of the best ways to get the content out of us so that we can really be pollinating in the market, because empaths are the bees of this world, and especially during this time. And we really are here to cross-pollinate ourselves in different industries to make a greater impact, but really ultimately change the world at large. So you can see yourself as being both pollen and honey. And during this time, more empaths are going to have to step up and realize their importance in the marketplace, especially as entrepreneurs and in the world, because the world honestly can't live without empaths. So something that's coming to mind is that if you ever watched the Bee movie before, it's a really good picture that shows the importance of the pollination factor and how the world could really not function without bees. And so being an empath or empathic-preneur, you really operate the same way. The world can't really function without, without empaths. And so it really is time to become like the bees in the marketplace and start to showcase different variations of your content contributions to several audiences. And this starts with learning how to effectively diversify your writings to showcase them in different industries to expand yourself and make that impact, and that income. So Tom Tom and I are going to have a conversation about this, and then share an opportunity with you that will show you how to get started in the simplest ways with your journey of being or becoming an industry crossover bee. And even if you don't think you are a writer, trust me, we can show you ways to create content in the simplest forms, and really honestly using your everyday experiences. So we want to show you how to transform your powerful and yet sometimes burdensome and even sometimes brutal aspects of being an empath, your empathic experience, and be able to transform them into entrepreneurial vineyards and or ventures rather. And believe it or not, this can bring you joy and fulfillment, just knowing that you're making an impact. And something I want to say right now is that empaths, our very survival and existence is really tied to serving. And without serving in our higher calling, we really cease to exist. And what I mean by that, not necessarily physically, but just emotionally, just who we are. We don't have fulfillment when we are not being able to leverage our giftings. And so Tom Tom and I will have some conversation around this too. So Tom Tom, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I couldn't do this without you, because this is, the work that we are doing together to start to level up the empath community, and really as empathic-preneurs, because as you know, it certainly is time. You and I have been doing the cross-industries work and multiplicity-preneur work for quite some time. And the industry crossover work is more of an initiation type of format. And so those who have been on the empathic journey, who really have probably experienced some of the brutality of that journey, those are the ones who are most called to be in the industry crossover, because that really does require a metamorphosis. And so there are different levels of it, but it's just time to expand this. And so Tom Tom, I know that you can speak, to quite a bit of that part of the brutal journey. But I guess the best place for us to start is just really actually talking about why it's important to never just serve one niche market. And obviously with cross-industries entrepreneurship and industry crossover, it is about serving, more than one niche market. And that's how we are able to be bees in the marketplace, is because we can cross-pollinate and also be, the honey. So before I actually have you share some of the benefits to creating content for more, than one industry, is there anything you would like to say around the detriment of serving one niche, or why it's best not to serve just one niche?
Well, the only thing I got to say about that is serving one niche, you just putting limits on yourself, limiting your options.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And can you imagine being an empath with all that's coming through, and just limiting yourself and narrowing it down?
Hard enough being an empath, but
exactly.
make it that much worse.
You're right. You're right. That is so right. So talk about the benefits of creating content for more than one industry, and how it opens doors, because of course, you multi-niche blogger, cross-pollination publisher, and you have things to come to you just by being a published author, and how that gets you exposure, how it's open up different doors. So you want to talk a little bit about some of the benefits, and then if you want to share any examples of your own, you can.
Well, it's not just different platforms, even writing about different subjects, having different things in your content. That's that's what I like to do. I feel like it's hard to talk to people, especially if your opinion is not popular, and and you see things from a different perspective, because most of the time people won't be open
Yeah.
to people in general have cognitive dissonance. They're not, they're not open to the possibilities of changing their opinions when they get presented with evidence that contradict their whole thought process.
Yeah.
So instead of getting in the debate or argument with somebody, I feel like it's just easier for me to put it in a book.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Put it on a post or something.
Right.
Or on a blog, and then people want to know what I think. They can go read it.
That's right. That's right. And someone's getting value, regardless to even if the ones who don't like, don't see eye to eye or so, but someone does, and they're getting value from you sharing and from you expressing, yourself in that way. And something that you and I both subscribe to, and you actually talked about it in one of our more recent segments that we did together, is that, if you see something or you don't see something in the market, then you create it. And empaths particularly, that's a good jump off, for them, is because when you feel a certain way, sometimes you need to create the solutions for yourself, and then share that with the world, because someone else is going through that. Or if there's something that you wish that you had to be a source of support, or just something you would like to know or learn about, you feel you don't have the answers, but there's something needs to exist for this, then that is the opportunity to be creative and to step into your empathic abilities, which are very powerful, because empaths, we have superpowers that are beyond our comprehension. And if you are emerging as an industry crossover empath, you definitely have developed the capacity to unleash those powers, because you would have been through kind of a brutal yet beautiful experience. And that just means that there's a higher calling. And again, using the writing preneurship aspect and combining that with your empathic preneurial expression, that's definitely going to lend itself to adding tremendous value in the marketplace, but changing your life, too. So Tom, you want to share anything, around that? When you don't see something in the market, create it.
Yeah, basically, I center my whole writing process around this concept. Yeah,
same here. Yeah.
I always tell new writers, if you go in a bookstore or a library and don't see the book that you want to read, it's a golden opportunity for you to write it yourself. That's
right. That's right. That's right. And you can do it in the simplest format too. Go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
And every book that I wrote, I can almost guarantee that it's nothing else out on the market like it, especially since part of research with when it comes to writing books is reading what other people wrote about your topic.
That's right. And then coming from your own unique perspective, which again, like you stated, won't be something that someone else has already put out on the market. So you and I are, we are on the same page and the alignment, because that too has been my way, is that things that I created, the information, it's not on the same level, first of all, and it definitely is not expressing what has already been expressed. And part of that, Tom, does come from the empathic ability that we have. And because there's not only because we are highly sensitive in a sense, but intuitively we have this knowing. And so when you start to do, as you mentioned, the research, and you can see that there's a lot of different opinions about a particular topic, and often you find that it all lumps kind of in the sea of sameness. But when you can rise above and bring your unique perspective and share what hasn't been shared, say what's not, being said. And empaths have this ability because the way we can feel and what just comes to us, because it's not like we are intentionally feeling a certain way. It's just that sometimes things occur, but we don't need to mistake, or I'm saying you don't need to mistake why it's occurring, and start to look at it as anytime you get sensitivity, even if it's in a great way, that can be an industry indicator of create something, produce something, for this particular industry. And like I said, Tom and I, we love to at least jumpstart individuals with creating in the simplest formats. So I mentioned earlier about people who may not even think that they're a writer, but you can create compositions, you can create journals, you can create short publications of like 30 to 70 pages. And we recommend using the platform Kindle Direct Publishing, and to be able to cross-pollinate and to really be the bee, in a sense, is that recommend at least publishing, starting off 2 to 3 short versions, or a publication series or so. But I actually recommend that you write for different industries, that you can leverage your life. So if there's something in your life that you enjoy, then consider just publishing maybe an affirmations journal or so about that. If you have a hobby or so, then write about that. And then an area where you actually do have an expertise in, or that's your high level skill set, then create something around that, but do it in a short format. And when you can have that variety, there are no limits to what doors can open up. And this goes beyond just getting book sales. We're talking about creating publications that get you noticed, and or that you can use for lead magnets or so. Like if you do have a business, or you are looking to start a business, writing and publishing is one of the best ways to gain credibility. Tom was talking about blogging, and as I mentioned, I've got several blog platforms as well, and I highly recommend using the platform Tumblr, because it's a micro blog, and so you can put a blog series up on that. You can do some tips blogging. Even if you don't feel you're a blogger, just have it as a presence, because you can leverage that. I leverage it for evergreen marketing. There are several blog platforms that I have that I only created a series on them, or I made some type of landing page or so, and then I leverage that, in my marketing. Another way that you can get started with this is that, let's say that you are looking to set up your own or publish at this point, or set up your own blog. You definitely can start off as a contributor to guest blogging, or contributor to a few magazines. And I'm not talking about contributing to the same types. I'm saying, like, I'll give an example. So let's say that you guest blog. You guest blog about a particular topic, and then you may contribute to the magazine on another topic. So because you want to diverse yourself, make yourself diverse in what you do. So you don't want to just narrow yourself down to one core area. And if you do start off doing that, please have the intention to expand. And because you may publish a publication, you may create a Tumblr blog. And let me put this in, throw this in as well, is that with Tumblr, you could create several blogs underneath one account. So this is the great thing, is that you're able to, let's say, publish those 2 to 3 books we're talking about. You could create a separate blog presence for each of those, each of those publications. And then if you are guest blogging or doing some contribution, to a magazine or some type of other platform, then you can, position that content on your blog and share the link, as well. So those are kind of just a few, just a few things, a few aspects, because something else I'm going to say real quick, and I'll bring Tom back in, is that the best way to actually start with this is really getting present and noticing what areas of your life that you're sensitive to. And as I've been mentioning, treat these feelings like they're industries that are seeking you out, and then start creating. Create as if you were solving, something for yourself. If you don't really know how to even go about this, or again, going back to hobbies and different things like that. If you're doing something you love and enjoy, then just write about it. And again, see that as an industry too. That's saying, hey, create something and share your perspective. And don't think that your voice doesn't matter, or who wants to know about what I do based on this. You'd be surprised. So Tom, you got anything you want to say around that before I share the opportunity that we have?
Well, that's definitely the truth. That's why I write about the stuff that I write about, like the sports books I write, and the one I'm currently working on, and even my very first book, Diary of a Mad Pizza Man.
Yeah.
I thought it was important that people knew what delivery drivers go through behind the scenes.
Right.
And they didn't have a clue. So I figured, that would help. That would help them learn about that. And then that would, and the more people learned about that, it would help the drivers that came after me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's a great book, and not only that, it's a great demonstration of how taking your experiences and then being able to add value, make others aware, and also to bring some exposure, shed some light, on some issues, and then, like I said, then add value, to others, and then too, it was liberating for you to be able to get that out of you. Because you can imagine if you still had that in you, and it needing to be out there on the market, and then also the individuals who've been blessed by it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and especially need to be out on the market, since half of the stuff in that book is what these pizza companies don't want customers.
You know. Right.
No.
Yeah. So that's why it's important, right? And then you write, you've got several publications, and I love showcasing you. Of course, I've got a mass body of work, but I like to zero in on you because you've got about a little over 30 publications, I think. Is it?
Yeah, 30.
30. Yeah. And so you write for the sports industry, financial industry, the empowerment industry, comedy industry, and the sports industry, and all of these are areas that have been a major part of your experience, and they also you've had doors open up for you just based on the writing and being able to get noticed. And it's like, if you didn't have your publications on the market, then some of the opportunities that come your way, you would have never had them. Also, you have Tourette's, and so you've got publications on that area. And so I'm bringing this up so that others can see that you can be writing from your experience, things that go on in your everyday life, and there's just a variety of ways, and that's how you ultimately become one of the bees in on the market, and we definitely want that. So Tom, I'm going to go ahead and share the opportunity that we have, and then I will bring you back in to we'll have a little bit more dialogue maybe, or bring you back in so that you can provide, some empowerment, call to action, and close us out. So the opportunity that Tom and I have to support the Empathic-preneurs is called the Right, W-R-I-T-E way to become an Industry Crossover Empathic-preneur experience, because it is an experience. And this is a self-paced mini master course that's facilitated in a private Facebook group. And also, because you listen to this, you can be part of that experience tuition free and only be responsible for the required publications. And I'm going to share those publications in just a moment. But one of the reasons why we have created this higher level sacred space is because we know that the empathic journey is not always easy. And you need support from those who have been through this at this higher level, because the experience that we bring to the table is not one that is being offered in the market, and also helping empaths to understand what's actually going on with them and why a lot of times they feel bombarded with taking on, different aspects and not really understanding why that is. And this experience will be able to not only bring clarification, but help to put things in the right order so that you can show up and serve in the ways that you are here to serve. And you are here to be a bee. That is just kind of the natural orientation to serve different industries, and like I said, and be a cross-pollinator, and also a king or queen honeybee as you move up in this journey. So the required publications for this experience is highly sensitive to high-end, the Right, W-R-I-T-E way. It's the art of becoming an empathic entrepreneur and building a high-end empire. It's a VIP intensive workspace planner, so it's one that you can customize your success based on the concepts that are within that publication. And then another one is becoming a cross-pollination publisher. It's an introduction to cross-industries entrepreneurship with multi-niche writing. It's a creation journal planner that's co-authored by Tom and I. The first one is one of my publications. And another one of my publications is Bee Water, the Bee Water Cross-Industries Factor, and is the basics of cross-pollinating and watering industries for impact and increase, and it is a journal planner. And then Tom has an accelerated publishing, a step-by-step guide to becoming a self-published author in 24 to 48 hours. And this is really, really important to have, because that is what we primarily focus on, is being self-published. And I know Tom will probably briefly speak to the benefits of that. Being self-published and having a variety of publications like you talked about, so that you can be able to cross-pollinate yourself and be that bee in the marketplace. And you want to be able to do that in an accelerated way. And because publishing doesn't have to be hard, and especially how we're going to teach you to get started. Now, if you want to go on to publish some bigger books that will take longer, and the creative process around that is, a little bit more intense. And Tom has courses and platforms and other, resources that and services that he can support you with that. But initially, we want to accelerate the process and get you started just in some simple ways. So when you are part of this experience, you'll learn the simplicity of blogging, the simplicity of publishing, and being able to create short form content, for social media, as well. So Tom, I'm going to get ready to bring you back in, but I just wanted to be able to share this, and also I will let others know that the publications are going to be in the description box, but they're also available on Amazon. And I mentioned that this is facilitated in a private Facebook group. And so there's also going to be the info within the description box for that as well. And also ways to learn more about Tom and I. So Tom, I turn it over to you. Anything you want to share on self-publishing, and then empowerment, and close us out?
Well, I'm just going to keep it simple and you know, and go in a different direction. As far as writing and you keeping all that stuff inside of you, like you talked about earlier, and getting sick. It reminded me of what the old folks used to say to me back in the day. You gotta let it out. Yeah.
More room out than in, right?
It's like bad gas. More room out than in, it's not your friend.
That's right. That is true. That is absolutely true. Yeah, for sure. And so that is true, Tom. I'm tickled over here because it's just got me thinking about, oh yeah, you know, and we know the brutality in the sense of, especially around having sinus headaches, things go in the body because there's just so much content coming through, and that we, you know, we have to release it and be able to serve these different industries, because when it does come through, we do notice that we are not just writing for one particular niche or gravitating opportunities for one particular niche. It typically is that there's several aspects of our life or different things of a need that needs to be fulfilled in the market. And we just leverage, like I said, different formats of writing to, you know, be able to add value and support ourselves, you know, at the same time. So if you don't want to say anything about the benefits of self-publishing, because we'll be talking about that, of course, within the course, I'll just leave you again to provide, you know, a call to action or so, and then just close us out.
That was my call to action.
Oh, not to let it out. That's okay. Yeah, well, that is true. Release what you have in you, but more than that, I would conclude with encouraging you to not go at this alone, and to join us on this journey so that your journey can be more enriched and you can have the fulfillment of making the impact that you're here to make, and become this powerful empathic-preneur in the marketplace.